Have you ever felt like you're walking a different path than everyone else? Like the rules of society just don't quite fit the way you see the world? If so, you might relate to the life of a Sigma male. They're not just loners or rebels. They're individuals who choose to carve their own unique journey outside the lines of the traditional hierarchy. But what people don't often realize is that this choice comes with its own heavy burdens. Living as a Sigma male might look intriguing from the outside, the quiet confidence, the freedom, the independence, but the reality is far more complex. They face silent struggles that aren't always easy to articulate or recognize. 1. They're constantly misunderstood. Sigma males tend to walk their own path, and because of this, people often misunderstand their intentions. While they're simply minding their business and choosing solitude over socializing, society can mislabel them as arrogant, antisocial, or even rude. In the workplace, this can make team dynamics challenging, as colleagues may mistake their reserved nature for a lack of interest or commitment. At family gatherings, they might be seen as the odd one out, who doesn't fully participate. In the collective vibe, this misunderstanding can create emotional friction, making it exhausting to constantly have to explain that their independence isn't an insult to others. It's just who they are. They often wish people could see beyond the surface and recognize the thoughtfulness that drives their behavior. 2. They're expected to conform to social norms. In a world designed for extroverts and traditional hierarchies, Sigma males often feel like they're swimming upstream. Society expects people to network, climb ladders, and loudly claim their space. But Sigma males don't fit into these molds. They'd rather achieve success quietly on their own terms, which can lead to tension in environments like schools, offices, and even friend groups. The pressure to just fit in can be overwhelming, especially when all they want is to do things their own way. This expectation often extends to their personal lives as well. Whether it's attending social events they're not interested in, or adhering to conventional timelines for milestones like marriage and career advancement, the push to conform can feel relentless. 3. Their independence can be misinterpreted. As isolation Sigma males value their independence, it's one of their core traits. But this can often be misinterpreted as isolation or loneliness. They're not lonely, they're just selective about their company and fiercely protective of their time. Unfortunately, society tends to equate being alone with being unhappy, which means Sigma males constantly have to deal with people asking them if they're okay or why they're not more involved. This can get frustrating and even make them second-guess their choices. The irony is that their independence often leads them to a deeper understanding of themselves and the world, something many people overlook in their rush to judge. 4. They struggle to find genuine connections. When you're someone who values authenticity above all else, forming genuine connections can feel like finding a needle in a haystack. Sigma males don't do small talk, and they're not interested in superficial friendships. They crave meaningful interactions, but because these are so rare, they can often feel like outsiders even among their peers. This struggle can make them feel emotionally isolated despite their preference for solitude. They're willing to wait for the right people to enter their lives, but the wait can be long and lonely. In a world where social validation often comes from quantity over quality, their pursuit of depth can make them feel out of sync with everyone else. 5. They're reluctant leaders in a world that demands leadership. Sigma males have the qualities of a great leader: focus, determination, and self-reliance, but they don't seek leadership roles. They're natural problem solvers who prefer working in the background rather than standing in the spotlight. However, society often pressures them to take on roles they don't want, putting them in uncomfortable situations where they have to lead when all they want is to operate freely. This reluctance can lead to conflicts with those who misinterpret their hesitation as a lack of capability or ambition. Ironically, when they do step into leadership roles, they often excel, but the internal struggle to reconcile their preferences with external expectations remains. 6. They face a constant battle between freedom and stability. While Sigma males value their freedom, life often demands stability in the form of steady jobs, routines, and commitments. Balancing their need for independence with these societal demands can feel like walking a tightrope. They don't want to be tied down by traditional expectations, but they're also aware that some level of structure is necessary to thrive. This internal conflict can lead to a lot of stress and self-doubt. For example, they may dream of traveling the world or pursuing unconventional careers, but feel constrained by financial responsibilities or the need to meet societal standards. It's a delicate dance that requires constant recalibration. 7. They're often overlooked or underestimated. Because Sigma males aren't loud or flashy, they're often overlooked in competitive environments. In workplaces, this might mean their hard work goes unnoticed because they don't self-promote. In social settings, they might be underestimated because they're not the loudest voice in the room. This can be incredibly frustrating, especially when they know their worth, but are constantly undervalued by those around them. Over time, this can lead to feelings of resentment or a sense that their contributions are invisible. Despite this, Sigma males often find creative ways to assert themselves without compromising their principles, even if it takes longer to get the recognition they deserve. 8. They're seen as threats without even trying. Interestingly, the quiet confidence of a Sigma male can sometimes intimidate others, even when they're not trying to. Their self-assured nature can make people feel insecure or competitive, leading to unnecessary tension. This is particularly true in work or social settings, where others might view their independence as a challenge to the status quo. This dynamic can make interactions more complicated than they need to be. In extreme cases, it can even lead to passive-aggressive behavior from others as people project their insecurities onto the Sigma male. 9. They're perfectionists to a fault. Sigma males often have a deep desire to do things their way and to do them perfectly. This can lead to high levels of stress because they set incredibly high standards for themselves. They're their own toughest critics, and this constant drive for perfection can be mentally and emotionally draining. Even small mistakes can feel like major setbacks, making it hard for them to fully relax or enjoy their achievements. This perfectionism can extend to all areas of life, from their careers to their personal relationships, creating a cycle of pressure that's hard to break. 10. They carry the weight of being self-reliant. Perhaps the hardest part of being a Sigma male is the constant weight of self-reliance. They pride themselves on not needing anyone, but this independence can sometimes feel like a double-edged sword. When challenges arise, they're often reluctant to ask for help, even when they really need it. This can lead to burnout and a sense of isolation, as they feel they have no choice but to carry their burdens alone. Over time, this self-reliance can become both their greatest strength and their heaviest burden, leaving them to wonder if there is a way to share the load without compromising their independence.